Campeones, Campeonas, welcome to a new episode of Storytime. For this episode, we're putting at work all those years of English classes because today I have the pleasure of being with a very special guest. She is a Canadian professional soccer player, represented her country last year in France for the World Cup, played for the Washington Spirit, the Houston Dash, and most recently Sydney FC, all the way down in Australia. Please welcome Lindsay Agnew. How are you, Lindsay? How are you doing during these tough times?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just trying to, still trying to keep sharp during this time and stay fit. But yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Uh, First of all, thank you so much for borrowing us some of your time. It's always inspiring to hear the background stories of pro athletes and to learn a bit more of the path that led them to where they are now. And we're thrilled to hear what you have to say to us today. I'm gonna ask you a few questions right now. Okay. Lindsay Agnew, former Ohio State Buckeye, drafted by the Spirit in 2017, then joined the Dash 1 year later, and just came back from Australia, like we said, after playing and reaching the final actually with Sydney FC. But let's go back to the very beginning. How did you got into soccer? When did you started playing?
So my parents actually put me into soccer at a very young age. They have this thing in Canada. It's like the Tim Hortons leagues, just like like rec soccer, recreational soccer. And I started playing that when I think I was like 3 or 4. So really young, and I kind of fell in love with it right away. So I'm one of those people that I've always loved soccer since the beginning. But I played a lot of different sports growing up, but soccer was always my favorite. And I come from a sports family, but no one played soccer specifically. But yeah, I just fell in love with it as soon as I started playing.
Your dad actually is a hockey player, a hockey trainer, actually, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. So what you say is you came from a sports family, and you also played basketball, right?
Yep. So my dad is an ice hockey coach, and my brother played hockey, and my mom coached gymnastics. So kind of like a wide spectrum of sports. But yeah, I loved it. And yeah, I played basketball in high school even. So in grade 10 is when I stopped playing basketball, but played for a long time. I did track. I did a little bit of lacrosse. I played a lot of different things. So I feel really lucky that I got to try a lot of different sports because I really love all the different sports. But yeah, soccer's always been my number one love for sure.
That's amazing, amazing. Like we were saying moments ago, you conclude your college career and decide to register for the NWSL draft in 2017 without knowing what was going to happen. But then the Washington Spirit said, I want this girl, and you get drafted. How was it, all of that for you? Like the big event, the uncertainty of what was going to happen, then hearing your name and knowing you were going pro. What was it for you?
Yeah, it was a super surreal experience for me. Yeah, like you said, it's one of those things where they only draft 40 girls, so you really have no idea, if you're gonna get drafted or not. I had talked to a couple teams before the draft, so I had like hoped that there was maybe a chance. But again, I don't think it ever like hits you whether it's gonna happen or not until you hear your name. So actually didn't even go to the draft. One, because I was like, what if they don't call my name? And two, just for school reasons and stuff. But I was with Nichelle Prince, who's also a pro soccer player too for the Dash, and we were together watching the draft with two of our roommates in our college house at Ohio State. And it was just like they said Lindsay, and when they said Lindsay, I was like, oh, they probably mean someone else. And they're like Lindsay Agnew from Ohio State. I was like, oh my god! So I can't really explain the moment. Just like your heart kind of drops, and it's just sort of a dream I've had since I was so young, coming true to hear my name. And all the support from my family and friends that I received. Like right after that, I felt kind of on top of the world for that kind of those whole 24 hours, I would say. So it was really awesome, and I think they've really done a great job with the draft and presenting it in a really cool way in these coming years. So
Yeah, like you said, 40 players only, and the fact that you actually heard your name from all players, because a lot of players actually register each year for the draft, and it's amazing the way so many girls are on that list. We see them days ago before the event, and it's actually, I think, a very special moment for anybody who actually gets to hear the name and knowing that the dream has come true.
of course, yeah. I think there's obviously like so many girls who are amazing players who don't get drafted. So when you get to hear your name and you're like, oh my God, I actually like for sure am going, then it's just, yeah, it's just an amazing experience. I feel lucky to be a part of that group of people that got to hear my name called.
Did you have another option if you weren't drafted? Like recently, a lot of players actually tend to, I don't know, maybe try a move on Europe or play another type of soccer. I don't know, not professionally, but there's a league actually in Orange County, if I'm not mistaken, where LA has a team. Did you
Yep.
have another option if you weren't drafted?
So I was going to the draft sort of like just hoping for the best, but in the back of my mind, I thought, if it doesn't work out, then I'll try to go to Europe. That was kind of in my head, to try to go to Europe someplace. Hopefully somewhere would take me, I guess. But I also sometimes look back at those times and think I was pretty young and naive. And I didn't really know how everything worked, I wouldn't say, back then, with like transfer windows and all of that stuff. But I think, yeah, if I hadn't been drafted, I'm not really sure. I didn't have a plan necessarily, but I think maybe I could have gone and tried out at an NWSL team, or I think Europe was in my head. But I actually still had to finish that semester of school after I got drafted. So that was kind of crazy because we have to report in March and we don't finish school until May. So I had about a little over 2 months of school left. So it was kind of crazy that first 2 months. I was flying back and forth and everything. And that was also that whole month when I got drafted was the same month that I made my first national team camp with Canada. So kind of a lot happened in like a short amount of time, and it was really exciting, but it was also like busy and kind of crazy, flying all over the place trying to make it all happen.
Yeah, it's actually very hard for a soccer player to mix, I don't know, the school and everything with the pro sport. Okay,
Definitely.
so for your second pro season, you joined the Houston Dash on.
Yeah.
You spent 2 years in H-Town, long enough
Yep.
for you to become a favorite amongst fans. I mean, people
Well, thank
people really love you, I can tell you that. And it's because you had some very important moments, big clearances, key passes, and personally, there's this incredible assist to Michelle Prince. I just can't forget it was against Sky
oh,
Blue.
And Swinger, and this one in play and tapped in. Michelle Prince.
Your time at the Dash. How were those 2 years for you?
Oh, I love my time with the Dash. I was traded there in the off season after my rookie year, and as I had no idea where I was being traded, and I got the call and said I was going to the Houston Dash, and I thought Michelle Prince is like my best friend, so I called her right away, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm coming to the Dash!" And she had said nothing but great things about the organization. So when I got down there, I was really excited, and the professionality of the organization was just really awesome. I love the stadium and everything. The fans were great. So I just had overall just an amazing experience. Amazing girls on the team, and I really enjoyed my experience in Houston. H-Town will always hold a special place in my heart for sure. I think just being able to play in the league still. And I think with Houston, we kind of had our ups and downs as to like making playoffs, trying to make playoffs. But I think we really made a lot of progress in the years that we were there and really gave some teams some run for their money. So,
Yeah.
And then just at the very bottom line, just getting to play with my best friend again in pro, and we lived together, and it was just like such an incredible experience. And we still talk about it today. Like, how did that even happen that we got to play 2 years of pro on the same team? So yeah, like you're saying, that assist is just so funny because we've been playing together now for like 8 years or something like that. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, you actually played alongside with Michelle on college and then the Canadian national team and the 2 years during the Houston Dash. I mean, yeah, it's something like not you don't get to see every day, like
No.
playing soccer with your best friend in almost every possible scenario. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
since we're talking about the Dash, in 2018, you were part of the first ever encounter between a Mexican club and the NWSL club. Sorry, it's a little difficult.
That's okay.
You scored actually that game, and although unfortunately the weather had other ideas and game had to end prematurely, what was it like for you to play against a team like Rayadas?
Yeah, it was really awesome. They came to the Dash facilities. We didn't train at the actual stadium. We didn't play, but We played at our practice fields, and it was just like really cool to. I never played a Mexican professional club before, so it was just cool to see that relationship start to grow between NWSL and the Mexican club, and then or Mexican professional league, and then obviously the next year. I wasn't a part of the team when they went because I was gone with national camp, but then they went and played another team in the Mexican league. So it's just a really cool relationship because you see that sometimes with men's soccer, but maybe not as much with women's soccer in the North America area. So I think that's something really cool, and I want to see it progress into more in the next coming years. But it was cool. We had some girls who had played on the Mexican national team, like Bianca Henninger. So she was telling us like the good players in their team to like watch out for, and I remember like her describing the different players. So it's just cool always to see soccer is such an international sport, or football, or whatever you want to call it. So it's just always amazing to play internationally and get to see the other girls and what different style that they bring to the game, because every country kind of has their unique touch, I guess, that they bring to the game.
Yeah. And a little add-on, the Dash is not only the first team to ever play against a Mexican club, but it's also the first team that plays against the two best clubs from our league. Like you said, sadly you weren't there for the second game, which has a very bigger impact on both sides. But Tigres won that night actually 2-0, 2-1 actually. They came back from an early Kaliao high goal. And it was actually amazing. I mean, the atmosphere Tigres fans bring on their stadium and on the league overall. I mean, you see in Monterrey and the stadium and the atmosphere, everything, the crowd attendance is just way beyond any other club. Like, it's such a privilege to any club to play in Monterrey. And Houston had the opportunity to play against the two of them. And Rayadas has grown way more than Tigres, in my opinion. Since you guys played with them. But Tigres also has done a lot of reinforcements right now, and the league is growing overall, and they are now admitting dual citizenship Mexicans. Before it was only people born in Mexico. Now there's a possibility of signing players who had like the Mexican-American citizenship, like Ari Romero, Bianca, and Ari Calderon, who actually came here to play with Rayadas.
Yes, I was gonna say she played for them. Yeah.
And so Lindsay, first question, because I'm sure a lot of people here in Mexico already want me to ask you, since we're talking about this. To this day, La Liga MX Femenil, the Mexican Women's League, as I said, it does not allow internationals. Eventually it will. We're getting closer to that day. So the question is, would you like to play here at some point in your career?
Sure, I would love to. I mean, I think any opportunity that I have to play anywhere is awesome. And I've been to Mexico a few times. So I definitely love the country, and all the people from there are so sweet and nice. And I feel like it's a really cool culture as well to be a part of. So definitely, I love the Mexican Americans, like you said, like both Ari's and Bianca, I love them. So I know that they're definitely interested in playing there, or Bianca's maybe not playing anymore, but some of those girls. But I think just really it's awesome that the Mexican League is growing and that they're investing in their professional women's soccer. I think they'll see so many great results from that, not only on the national team level, but just progressing the girls to different clubs and seeing the level of women's soccer in general in Mexico rising. I personally would love to see Canada get a league or get a team in the NWSL. Because I think it's really important for young girls to have that goal and to see those professional players in person and have those role models, because it gives them something to strive for. So I think it's really awesome that Mexico is doing that and investing in the women's game, and it's really exciting, I think.
Definitely. And like you said, Canada doesn't have a league yet to develop its players, but something I've always said when I'm talking about Canada, it's that precisely there's no league to develop its players, but the amount of young talent this Canadian national team has over the years is just amazing. I mean, you included Jordan Heidema and Jen Rose and a lot, Jesse Fleming. Although there's no league to develop its players, they tend to develop on different scenarios. It's amazing to see what would be the results of these players with a league to develop and to keep working week by week. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that a lot of Canadian players that have the ability to go and play in the NCAA system in the American college, which is really awesome. You know, a lot of the top level players get to go and play collegiately at least, but then a lot of players don't have a pro team to go to after that, and then they're internationals in every other league unless they have a different passport. So yeah, I think it's something that's definitely on our radar that we want to see in the future, is just maybe a team, like I said, in the NWSL that makes, you know, Canadians not internationals, or just a league in general for Canadians to grow and play and have that goal to reach that pro level. They just got a men's professional league, and they obviously have some men's teams in the MLS. So yeah, I think we really want to see that for the women's side and for the development of Canada soccer.
Yeah, it would be pretty good. It would be pretty good, awesome to see that. Now the World Cup, a
Yeah.
unique experience. Only the most fortunate ones can talk about. How did you felt when you got that call saying you were selected to represent Canada, your country, at the biggest stage a soccer player can be?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, I just can't explain the feeling. Something I've been working hard for 3 years and kind of been stressed out about for 3 years. Obviously, my whole life I wanted to play in it, but I guess, you know, 3 years of straight focus and preparing your body and doing everything you can to be a part of the team. And you know, I'd been going into camps and everything, but like just to hear your name that is going to be on a World Cup roster, I think qualifying was awesome, but then to hear that you were going to be a part of that experience, yeah, it's something I'll never forget, and I'll never take for granted, because it was just, yeah, like you said, it was such an incredible experience, and only comes around every 4 years. So not even pros who play a long time never get to play, and so I feel really fortunate to have been a part of the team.
Those weekends, friends, what happened? How were they? You were there right now with the team, living the dream, basically. How was it for you? How did you feel in France? Did you got the chance of explore? I don't know, not exploring the city or something, or did you were all focused on training? How
Yeah.
was it?
Well, first it was really cool because FIFA flew us all first class over to Europe, and that was really cool just to kind of feel, you felt really like fancy and successful when you're flying first class and get to stretch out in the chairs and everything. So we had a pre-camp for a month in San Sebastian, Spain, actually. So we had a game in Toronto, then we went to San Sebastian, we trained, and then I was, you know, at that time, it sort of felt like, oh, it's sort of like another, you know, camp-esque. And then once we got to France, that first city in Montpellier, it was just like all the FIFA like signage in the city, and like there was on the buses, and, you know, people were just really excited about it. And it was just like so awesome. And I do remember the feeling of walking in. We do like a walk around in the stadium the day before the game. And I remember doing that, and we like walked the way to our locker room and everything, and it was just like, wow, like this is something I've been dreaming of again for so long. So it was just cool to see it all. And then yeah, we like, there was tons of people. My family got to come to the game, so that was really cool. Really cool to see them just up in the stands, you know, up in France, like getting to see, you know, my brother, my dad, and my mom, and my aunt and uncle, like a bunch of people came. But yeah, like all the crowds were amazing. A lot of the, you know, stadiums were like almost at full capacity. And the one game I specifically remember, there was over like, I think there was over 44,000 people at our game against Sweden and at the PSG stadium at Parc des Princes. And it was just so loud and really, really wild. And yeah, so obviously we wish it would have gone better in terms of results, but walking away with like just an incredible experience. And sorry to talk about, did we get to do anything else? For sure, it's very focused, but there are like moments where we could like walk around the season, and around the city. So I definitely got to explore the city, and most of the hotels were in the city. So it's kind of funny, just couldn't wear your Canada stuff or you might get stopped, but it was just cool to see all the different, the way our path was. We got to start in southern France, and we kind of made our way up. We're in the Alps, and then we went to Paris. So kind of hit up all the, you know, big parts of France, which was really cool, besides North France, I guess we didn't make it to. But yeah, just overall awesome. And I think one cool experience too was we played the Netherlands, and they had like crazy amount of Dutch fans that they brought with them, and they would do like a parade on the day of the game. So we were right next to the hotel, or right next to the stadium, and our last game of group play, and we just hear all these banging and drums, and I look outside the window and like this whole sea of orange is like going across the bridge over to the stadium. So it was just really cool to see all the excitement, whether that be for cheering for us or not, but just all the excitement surrounding the game.
Yeah, because I mean, in the end, it's showing that the people is actually caring even more about women's sport, and I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. That they go, that they watch the games, that they go support their teams, and like you said, a whole city changes when it's about a World Cup, and I think it may be different for you as a women's soccer player to watch, I don't know, that all the typos and the posters and everything, knowing that each day that's going on, each event every 4 years, maybe when it happened all the way back in Canada, there wasn't that much of how do you say exposure
Right.
to the women's sport, and it's amazing to see how much it has grown and how much people are actually consuming it.
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I've seen, yeah, just in the time that I've even been a pro, just the progress of the game has been incredible. So I hope to see it continue in that trajectory. And yeah, no, but definitely France did an unbelievable job with the World Cup. So it was really exciting. And the bid for the next World Cup is coming up, I think, towards the end of June. I think they're making a decision. So actually, Australia is up for it. So yeah, I would hope that whatever country gets the next bid really learns from some of the stuff France did, because I think they really did an awesome job.
Yeah, definitely. Who did you rooting for in the final? The USA or the Netherlands?
Oh, I don't know if I can say that.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. And that one was a tough one for me, because US is obviously a huge rival of ours, but then Netherlands beat us in our group, so
Yeah.
I was not really cheering for either of them, probably.
Can they both lose?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to be there, so honestly, watching the final was pretty tough, because it's something that we had talked like we were going to be there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was tough. Once you get out, that's the thing that people don't talk about all the time. But when you get knocked out, it's just so like deflate, and you get like within 48 hours. Luckily, Canada actually provided us an extra day that we got to stay. But otherwise, if they didn't do that, then we'd have been out the next day. So
Wow.
It's kind of wild, kind of a whirlwind. Like you do this huge big thing, and then all of a sudden you're like back home. So
Yeah.
Definitely a crazy experience. But
Well, that's amazing. Changing the subject to even more recent events. These last days, it has been said a lot that the NWSL plans to make this season as a 1 month tournament between the 9 teams in Utah during June and July. What are your thoughts about this? Is it too early, too risky, a good idea, a bad idea?
yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm no healthcare professional or anything. I don't really know anything behind that, but I think it's if they approve of it, and if the governments are starting to open up, and if the doctors and everything think it's okay, then I think it's a cool opportunity. I know that a lot of work has gone in behind the scenes to try to make this happen, just to give the fans and the players something to play for the season in general. And I think they're really trying to do a lot of precautions to make it happen. So I personally think it's a cool experience. I think that it's better than nothing. One, obviously everyone would like to have a full season, but a tournament would be just a way to get some games in, and get the players, like obviously a lot of players have been working so hard in these months, and then to not get anything would be really too bad. So I think it's exciting, honestly, that they're doing this for us, and putting in all the measures to make sure it's safe and healthy for players and staff and everything.
Definitely. During your college years, and if I'm not mistaken, also your first pro season, you played forward, right?
Yep.
When did that right back position change came, and why?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story. So I played forward most of my career, but my first Canadian national camp, I was a U17. There was U17 camp, and the coach there, we did a fitness test, and the next day I was outside back. So I think we needed like fit players to play on the outside. So I think he just tried me there. And then kind of with Canada, I always played outside back from then forward, my first U17 camp, but always I was playing, I always played outside back with them. But then when I go back from my club team or with my college team, I was a forward. And then, my first year in Spirit, I played forward as well. But then with the national team stuff coming, I was again playing outside back with them. So then when I got traded, Houston just wanted me as a outside back, and I just decided sort of that I would just try to commit to that position full time, and try to see like where I could go with that position. But I definitely miss my forward days a lot, because they're just
scoring goals.
Yeah, scoring goals. All the glory is in the forward position, and get to be more creative, and it's not so stressful. I feel like all the defenders out there, you guys deserve a pat on the back, because it's definitely a disciplined and stressful position to play. But I do love it too, and I grow to love it more and more always. So.
Yeah, because being a defender in soccer, we know like if there's a game where the whole team isn't focused, or there's a huge attacking line on the opposite side, if there's 2-3 goals, I mean, all the defense is wrong and everyone is screwed up. And we know it's a lot more of pressure than, I don't know, having a tough game as a defender and letting out, 2-3 goals, than as a forward not scoring a goal on a game.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's what we always laugh. You can have a terrible game as a forward, but you score the goal. That's, there you go. You're the hero.
Yeah.
But defender can have a great game, the whole game, make one mistake, and it's, all on them. So it's definitely a lot of pressure, but it also has like its, benefits. You have that, like I always say, there's something about the group of the back line. There's kind of a bond, I feel like, behind the back line that is very unique, I feel, to that part of the field, because there's so much communication and so much you have to be on the same page as the other players all the time, and covering for each other and everything, that it's really a unit, I think. So that's cool.
Definitely. There's something I wanted you to talk about, because when I first saw this little story on Twitter back then, I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And actually, I've talked about this a couple times as a way to let people know that everything is possible. There's a picture, I can't remember exactly the year, but you probably do, in which you're with Christine Sinclair as a fan, super excited, and then years later, you are with Christine Sinclair celebrating goals with her, and there's a whole bunch of pictures on the internet with you and Christine Sinclair celebrating goals. What can you say about this? Did younger Lindsay ever thought about this happening?
Yeah, I know, for sure. It's kind of funny because, I mean, to a lot of Canadian girls, and especially me, like Christine Sinclair was, a hero of mine. I had like posters of her. Like I watched her in like the London Olympics, and she was just like, larger than life. And so, I got to meet her before, and I was like all red and nervous and everything, just to meet her. And then, then I remember the first national camp, I was like in the elevator with her, and she walked in. I was like, oh God, I need to play it cool. But like, she's my hero. Like she's right there. But the one thing I always say about Sinky is, a lot of times you meet your heroes and sometimes they don't live up to your expectations. Like, you blow them up to be this bigger thing than they are. But Sinky, I would say, does and more. She's such a great person, both on and off the field, and a great leader, and obviously an amazing player. Still breaking records, and still sometimes I have to pinch myself. I'm like, I'm crossing the Sinky, like the GOAT, So, I mean, it is pretty crazy to think, a lot of the people that I grew up playing with or looking up to, just being able to play alongside them, it's really something that I feel fortunate to be able to do, and just to be a part of Sinky's legacy in any way. I've like really wanted to assist one of her goals. That's like one of my new dreams, just so I can be part of the goal record, but hopefully still to come.
Yeah, I know. And Christine keeps scoring goals and keeps so completely fit. It's unreal when we talk about her on the pitch. I simply shock when I see her play, because wow, I mean, considering her age, when we talk about soccer, because a lot of people, well, they're down or below their peak And I think Christine is now probably at their best. I mean, is scoring almost every game and breaking records. And, when we talk about Abby Wambach, that is also a very important player in the women's soccer history. And she's now she's surpassing her right now. So it's, wow, amazing to see Cincy in action.
Definitely, yeah. Sinky is just such a fierce competitor that, she just keeps getting better. And I think also as you age and grow up, you like kind of have to change your game in different ways and, try to stay, at the top. And I feel like she's really worked on all these different aspects of her game. So she just continues to be just a better and better player as she gets older and just, adjusts different things as she gets older. So it's really cool to see. And like I said, just such a top-notch person that it's really cool. And you want to see her reach every goal she wants to. And I always said, like, when you just don't want to let sink you down. Like in a game, you just want to win for her. Like I just want to win the World Cup so bad for her and all the other veterans, just because they're such great people and they deserve it. So hopefully the Olympics is where we'll have our time in the sun.
I hope so too. Lindsay, you're currently a free agent, but before this whole thing blew up, you were at camp with the Courage. Is the new chapter of your career in North Carolina, or what's next for you right now? Do you plan to stay in the States, or probably take a shot in Europe? What's next for you?
Yeah, well, I'm actually in North Carolina now, so that's the current plan still. We'll see what happens, I guess, with everything shuffling around, especially with this, potential Utah tournament and just different things. Definitely interested in playing in Europe still as well. So yeah, I don't know. I love my time in Sydney as well. That was my first time playing overseas. So yeah, it was a great experience. But yeah, I also love the NWSL and think it's really important for to see that league grow, and it's just so competitive, and a lot of the best players in the world play there. So it's cool to be a part of. But yeah, right now I'm in North Carolina, so that's the plan, hopefully. But we'll see what happens here. It's kind of obviously it's a weird time, so you never really know.
Yeah. But it would be amazing, I mean, for you to be at the end with the current champions. I mean, twice in 3 years. It's amazing, like what they've done in the NWSL since they moved to North Carolina. I mean, it would be such a great move for you, and we hope actually you stay there and we get to see you play there.
Yeah, no, definitely. It would be a total honor to play for the Courage. So they're just an amazing team. And yeah, like you said, just have been champions, have that championship winning DNA. And yeah, I would love to play for them. So hopefully it all works out, but we'll wait and see how the cards fall. But yeah, I think just even practicing with that team, I think it would just make me improve as a player and get to see kind of their culture and how it all works. So yeah, it's an exciting opportunity for sure.
Hope so. Lindsay, to finish with this interview, I want to ask you this completely random question I tend to ask soccer players every time I see them, because it's a little complicated, and I love hearing their different point of views when I put these two positions at. So the question is, score an own goal or miss a decisive PK, and why?
Ooh, wow, that is tough. Well, see, I think the way the question's worded there, if I score an own goal, we could still be winning. I feel like the decisive PK insinuates we're losing. So maybe score an own goal in that way if we can win. But both are pretty horrible. I'm not usually like on the line for the one PK, but anytime I've been taking PKs, it's just such pressure on you. So it would be terrible to miss that. But scoring an own goal sometimes as a defender, that does happen when you're doing the right thing and the ball gets crossed in and you score the own goal. Obviously it's a horrible feeling, but I guess if it wasn't decisive, I'm kind of not answering your question, but I just want to win the game. So whatever happens, I feel like, again, if you miss the decisive PK, you score an own goal, as long as you win the game, it's like all's forgiven. But if it wasn't, then I'm someone that would feel guilty about it for forever. So I still remember a PK I missed in college one time. I still remember it. So and it wasn't decisive. It didn't matter, but still in the back of my mind. So
that's a good answer. I like it. Well, and finally, do you have a message, or what's your message to all the girls out there who want to follow your steps and become a professional soccer player?
Yeah, I would just say to believe in yourself, and you know, there might be a lot of people along the way that tell you can't do something. I know for me as a player, I was never I had a lot of players and coaches tell me I would never get to where I am today at every single level. You know, wouldn't play college, wouldn't play whatever, and you know, I think you gotta, if you have a dream, you gotta protect it and you gotta go after it, and comes with a lot of hard work and sacrifice. But if you're willing to do that, then I would say just do it and don't let anyone hold you back, and just go after it, and you know, be at the top, and then you can tell them, hey, I proved you wrong. So that's what my big message would be.
There's actually a whole stories about famous people, not only pro athletes, but also, I mean, people famous in the media that actually became, I don't know, and some, at some point rich or discovered anything that they told them when they were kids, so they were when they were starting with that, hey, you won't be, you're a nobody, you're not gonna reach anywhere. And look at them now. I mean, it's amazing to see all those stories. How, like you said, I proved you wrong.
Yes, exactly.
So
No, for
cool.
sure. I mean, I played on the B team for a long time. I wasn't even on the A team in my like youth club for a long time, and then, you know, just it is crazy to see what can happen. So don't discount your dream. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something, because maybe they just can't do it.
Yeah, that's a very, very good message. I like it a lot. And Lindsay, once again, thank you so much for being here and for letting us know more about yourself. I hope this whole thing ends up soon so we can see you back on the pitch doing what you do best and what you love.
Thank you. Yes, you too. Hope you're staying healthy and safe, and keeping happy during this time, because I know it can be crazy times, but hopefully we'll all be out living normal life again soon. But thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. We hope everything gets back to normal. And for you guys, Lindsay's social media are going to be here on the screen. So make sure to give her a follow right now, and also follow us for more videos and women's soccer content every day nonstop. Lindsay, take care and stay safe. Thank you so much.